What if LEGO made a Deltarune collectible minifigure series? I teamed up with my friend who makes amazing digital figs, Izzy, which you can find on Instagram with IzzyXFigs, to bring back CMF draft. We're doing a Deltarune CMF draft, which don't worry, there's nothing from Chapter 5 in here. I won't spoil anything, even though I played it and loved it. As with any CMF draft, I'm looking at the realism. What would LEGO realistically make if they were assigned a Deltarune CMF series? And yes, for realism, I have to acknowledge that the creator, Toby Fox, says that he would not allow them to actually release any merchandise on the Lightner characters. And I think Tricky Tony even said that he would not approve major retailers to sell any Deltarune merch. A guaranteed character we'd get is Ralsei, and I love the sculpt that Izzy did for Ralsei's head there, and the use of that existing scarf piece works really well. You can also see the existing skirt piece in green. This looks great from the back, but yeah, Ralsei has a revivement as one of the accessories, and then his other accessory is magic, which you can see from this little move right here. So that's a really cute representation with just that little dish piece. Next would be Susie, which I love how Izzy sculpted Susie's head as well, with the hair and with even like a snout going on there. And you can see how elaborate that sculpt is from the back of the hair. Some great side arm printing as well, and printing all over the legs. This is a super detailed figure, and her accessory is her axe. Then we have Kris's Dark World variant. Another amazing job this time with the sculpt of the hairpiece, even though Kris uses a classic minifigure headpiece, which actually makes sense. I mean, you look at the game and Kris doesn't even have like a nose or anything like that, so it fits really well. Kris is a character with two new pieces, as they also have a sword piece. The design has a cape piece as well for Kris, and you can see the view from the back. I like the use of the mid legs too. That's just good for height compared to, say, Susie. And you can see there's some printing at the bottom of the legs. And you can't have Susie without Noelle. The design of Noelle looks so adorable. Once again, Izzy's just killing it with these new head sculpts. And I feel like LEGO would go out of their way to at least give us new head sculpts for a lot of these characters. It would kind of be like a Simpsons series situation. The design has some more great molding with the hair at the back, and I love the use of the Donald Duck tail there. That's very clever, and I didn't even think of that. Izzy pulled that off. Great torso print. We have mid legs as well, just to get those height differences between Susie and Noelle. Her accessories are the flower that Susie gives Noelle and the candy cane pencil that Noelle gave Susie. We just used the existing pen piece but made it red and white. Next, we have Spamton, which I feel like Spamton has more of a chance than those main characters, because Spamton, first off, is a Darkner, so Toby Fox wouldn't have a problem making a product out of him. And hey, we got that with, what was it, this little Nendoroid that was an official release of Spamton, which was crazy. And I absolutely love how Izzy used the existing Pinocchio headpiece that just works absolutely perfectly for Spamton. Such a clever part usage. We do have a new hair piece for Spamton though. The design, which is another great sculpt. Very simple minifigure, but you know, it doesn't really require too much detail going on here. Like, we didn't need printed legs. So yeah, and then we also have the accessory of the Pippus, which is just an existing egg piece colored in blue. Hey, it worked perfectly. Then we have Lancer, and the design for Lancer has a new sculpted headpiece. We also have some printing on the torso, and he also has his bike as an accessory, which we just used the existing LEGO bike piece, the classic one, which actually translated pretty decently, getting that frame in purple. And then there's the Roaring Knight, which right away I know a lot of people are going to say, why didn't you use toe legs? Well, Izzy originally used toe legs for this design, and I was like, no, don't. I'll tell you why. Again, I'm looking at the most realistic outlook of how LEGO would release this figure, and they have never released a minifigure in the CMF series with tall legs. So I feel they would cheap out and give us short legs. But yeah, would look better with the tall legs. Maybe there's a bit too many new pieces here, but the head piece is new. There's a separate shoulder armor piece, and then the design has a new sword piece. But I love the sculpt on the head a lot. I think that came out excellently. Then we have Sans, which I know people who don't know Deltarune will be like, wait, that's Sans from Undertale. And yeah, Sans is in this game. The design for the headpiece, I think, came out perfectly. I love how Izzy did that. You can see some back torso printing as well. And there's also some great printing on the torso and the mid legs going on there. And we have the record player from the end of chapter 4. So yeah, that would have a new print for the little jitterbug going on there. Aside from that, the record player itself is a very simple build of existing pieces. Then there's a minifigure for Tenna, which has a new sculpted headpiece. The design, I absolutely love the molding that came out there. And the torso print looks great. The leg printing looks fantastic as well. And you can see how he has a little cloth piece going on at the bottom there. And his accessories are a mic, and not Mike himself, and also a design of that controller. Right now, I gotta give a shout out to Snom Nom because I think I like her accessory more than the ones I told Izzy to make, where it's like 2 scale versions of Kris, Ralsei, and Susie. Yeah, they also have a great Instagram. All right, anyways, we have the Queen as our next minifigure. Completely new headpiece, so we could have probably gone away using a minifigure headpiece. I feel like LEGO would just make a new mold altogether. And you can see the printing continuing at the back of the torso, dual molded arms and multicolored legs that are dual molded as well. And also one of those cloth pieces for that neck part. And her accessory is a Newbert. We have Toriel, which another great head sculpt. Love the use of the dress piece there, which Izzy has some great printing captured on there. Fantastic torso printing, and her accessory was one of the easiest. Yeah, just give her a pie. You can see the back of her torso as well. And finally, the last minifigure is Undyne. And I know picking Undyne is one where people will be like, wait, what? There's so many other characters you should choose over there, even though Undyne's beloved and another character from Undertale. But let's be real, LEGO is obsessed with putting police in everything, and I feel that would make its way to Deltarune, where they're like, oh, kids could just get a fun cop character. And so we have Undyne in her police outfit, which I love how Izzy did the whole like hat, hair, and ears attachment. That would be such an awesome piece, and I think it is feasible for LEGO to make. And you can just see the sculpting from the back there. It looks fantastic. Izzy really knocked it out of the park with these. But yeah, she has an angry facial expression, and she has some torso and slight leg printing down to the little shoes going on right there. That's all 12 characters for this series. Yeah, when you get to the secondary characters, it's a little bit harder of who will go in and who would not be in here. I feel like somebody like Spamton and Sans are kind of guaranteed because they are such popular characters. Sans even more so than Spamton because Sans is from Undertale and Sans was a whole meme and everything there. Heck, a character that's even referenced in Smash Bros. Of all things. Then you get to somebody like Lancer, it's like, okay, probably the least likely of the series, but I still think they have a big shot at being made. Now, who's missing? I mean, there's so many. I want Birdly as a minifigure, but I feel like they wouldn't do Birdly in the first series. I also feel like Asgore and Alphys are easy second series picks. Oh, Izzy actually had a little render of Alphys as well. There you go. And I know Izzy did Jevil, which, yeah, I could see Jevil in the second series. I want to let Izzy speak on her creation, so take it away, Izzy.
Thank you, Sarah. Hello, everybody. I am Izzy, and I am so happy I got the opportunity to do all this. This is not meant to be a tutorial, so much as just a lightning-fast showcase of my own personal process. The first step for designing each of the figures involves making very rough concept art. This is just to get a vague idea of what each figure will look like, you know, what colors, what pieces, and if I'll have to design any new 3D pieces, and what those would look like, etc. The next step takes place on the site Megabricks, where I make basic versions of each of the figures. Megabricks provides templates, aka UV maps, to create decorations for basic minifigure pieces. I import all these templates into IBIS Paint on my phone and draw all the decorations on there. I make sure that all the colors, except for the new blue-violet that I used, are from Megabricks color chart, so the colors on the prints match up with the colors of the pieces themselves. Ideally, you'd want to do this on a computer with a tablet or like an iPad on Procreate, but I'm too cheap to buy a nice tablet, and I've gotten really good at just finger painting. Once the decorations are finished, I import the Megabricks file into Blender using their dedicated add-on, and I apply the graphics onto the pieces. You could put the decorations on the pieces in Megabricks itself, and the developers actually recommend that you do it this way. For me, putting them on in Blender is a lot faster. For many figures, this is where the process really ends. A lot of figures you can make entirely with pieces on Megabricks, but if a character needs a new piece, this is when I would do it. 3D modeling is such a complicated process, I can't even get into it. Once the figure is done, I add light, sometimes a background, and render out the image. My computer is pretty middle of the road in terms of specs, so this can take some time, not terribly long though. If you only watch LEGO content on YouTube, you might not be aware, but there are other artists who use Blender for custom LEGO designs. There's a whole Discord server called Blender Bricks entirely dedicated to helping people with this process. I'd like to end this section by giving some shoutouts to other LEGO digital creators. There's Forstud, who inspired me to do all of this in the first place. He's like the OG to me. There's Glimhild, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but he makes amazing versions of Mario characters. There's 3C Figs. His style is just immaculate. I don't know how much of his process is 3D modeling and how much of it is 2D art though. Then there's my friends and #1 supporters, Cryptic and Poison Bricks. Apart from just being my friends, they're special because they've actually sold real versions of their figures before. Finally, there's the person who should have been in this video instead of me, Snomnom. Snomnom has made her own incredible versions of the Deltarune cast as minifigures. Please support all of these creators and all the other ones I badly wish I could have mentioned. Thank you.
And yeah, that cover of Paradise is actually from Izzy herself. She makes music. You can check out her YouTube, link in the description. Anyways, thank you for watching. Let me know who's missing from this series that you'd like to see in a series 2. Please check out Izzy's Instagram. She makes amazing custom figures. And subscribe here for more LEGO videos, hopefully more CMF drafts. This was a ton of fun to do. I'll see you later. Peace out. Bye.